Welcome back to 843 TV. I'm now joined by Stephen Murray, City Councilman for the City of Beaufort, and Jon Verity, Chairman of the Redevelopment Commission for the City of Beaufort. Guys, thanks a lot for joining me.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Jon, let's start. The Redevelopment Commission has been working very hard.
It has.
Tell us about some of the recent work on infill, including the new City Walk neighborhood, Whitehall, Duke Street, that kind of stuff.
It has been. It's been a very busy time, which is nice. We were seeing more economic activity, I think, in Beaufort today than we have in quite some time. City Walk is our biggest personal home development that is at the north end of Battery Creek on the old Harvey property.
Okay.
11 acres, and there's about 46 home sites going in. There are 2 houses completed, 2 houses under construction, 10 lots have been sold. They are working on a waterfront park, essentially. It's not going to be quite as elaborate as ours downtown, but it's going to be very nice. And that's underway and should be finished in the next 60 days.
Wow. And
they'll be paving the roads by the end of the month. The prices have been about what they expected, I think. The lots have been averaging about $120,000, and the homes actually are reaching about $500,000, a little higher than we thought they might go for. So it's really, and it's going, I think, on schedule, and they're hoping for a 3-year build-out if they can. So
wow.
It's a great project. Whitehall, as I think you may have seen in the paper, is under a contract with a new developer, under contract with the bank. They're doing their due diligence, and hopefully would have some plans and things to look at in the fall.
Okay.
Infill in the city, especially in the northwest quadrant and in the city as a whole, is always a challenge because we're 300 years old, and the infrastructure is good and bad in different places.
Right.
So infill is a challenge, and what we decided to do this time, which I think is a great idea, is we're just going to focus on Duke Street,
okay.
Particularly between Charles and Bladen. You know, the city and federal dollars have invested $1,400,000 in that streetscape. New sidewalks, new street, on-street parking instead of in-your-yard parking. And that has started to pay some dividends. If you go down that street, you'll see a lot of people who have fixed up their homes. We have 4 homes for sale. We've got 27 vacant lots.
Wow.
So it's a perfect place for us to emphasize the opportunities of living in the city of Beaufort.
Yeah.
And so we're very excited about that. We see a lot of activity, but those are the primary areas where we're seeing, where we think there's going to be some real progress.
Yeah, and Duke Street, I mean, talk about historic Beaufort. That is historic Beaufort right there on Duke Street, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And historic Beaufort's been very active in supporting it and has reconstructed the old Frogmore Lodge and some other places along there. So they're really they're active partners for us.
Great.
We're very pleased about that.
Okay, and Stephen, I know you've been a champion of economic development here for quite some time. We're talking near future here. You know, we're in almost halfway through 2016 already. What do you see in terms of economic development and growth here, you know, in the next 2 to 3, 4 years?
Yeah, that's a great question, Will. Thanks for asking. I think you know, if you go back a year to January, most of the city's economic development efforts were attached to the Lowcountry Economic Alliance.
Yes.
And when that folded January 2015, it caused us to really sort of look internally at what we were going to do moving forward. So for the last year, we've been doing a lot of planning, a lot of conversations at Council and the Redevelopment Commission about the appropriate path for the city to take, especially in a time of very tight revenues.
Yes.
So I was very pleased that in our strategic planning retreat this year, Council has identified economic development as our #1 priority. And I think we're going to be able to carve out a small amount of funding to support some economic development activities. The first thing we identified is that we've got to make sure that our existing commercial and existing business base is strong and growing.
Right.
So we're creating some tools. We're moving our business licenses online, where you'll be able to renew your licenses online. If you're accommodations or a hospitality tax business, you'll be able to pay those monthly taxes online instead of having to do handwritten receipts now. And we're going to be putting in place a longevity discount for businesses who've been here more than 7 years.
Okay.
We also have a business license discount for new businesses. So we're really trying to make sure those existing folks know that we appreciate their business here and that they're strong and growing, because it doesn't really do much for us if we're bringing new businesses in the city or we're growing new businesses if our existing folks aren't strong. It's not a net growth.
Yeah.
The second thing I think we're we're focused on is the incubation of new businesses. And that's if people have products or ideas or innovative things that they want to do to start a company, the city and local government ought to find the tools or have support tools in place to allow them to be successful in the city. So we've been doing a lot of work. We've talked to folks all over the region and looked at different models of incubators, accelerators, co-work spaces. And I think we're getting pretty close to identifying the model that we think best fits for the city of Beaufort. And I hope in the next 6 months we'll have that model identified and we'll actually be moving forward of standing something up here in the city of Beaufort.
Okay. Yeah, you know, it's one thing to say, hey, we need more economic development, but then it's another thing to kind of map out
to do it.
how do you go about doing that as a municipality?
Absolutely, and I think the goal that we've agreed on as a city, both the redevelopment commission and the council, is it's very simple, and that's to create higher paying jobs and to create more of those in the city of Beaufort.
Yeah.
There's been some very disturbing trends that's come out at the census data recently, and that's that our per capita income has fallen almost 36% in the last 10 years.
Wow.
From about $40,000 down to $27,000. Which is troubling for young families like yours and mine that really love this area and want to try to make it here. The other disturbing trend, and the Island Packet Beaufort Gazette did a great article probably a month ago now that said that 21 to 44-year-olds, we've lost about 25% of that population over the last 15 years.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I think that proves that young professionals and young people who want to live here are leaving the area simply because there's not the type of jobs that they need to support considering our high cost of living.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, I mean, this is a conversation that could continue for weeks.
It could.
Thank you very much for joining us today and sharing with us some of the tasks that the Redevelopment Commission and the city are doing to stimulate economic growth here in the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And stick around for one more segment of 843 TV.